Hi friends, welcome to the webinar on digitization of supply chain. It's a very interesting subject. As you see in the cover slide, I'm calling as transforming into an opportunity center. Everybody talks of making supply chain as a value chain. So if we really understand the digitization concepts, it can help us to transform our activity into opportunity center. If I see the word as a whole, essentially, the word can be viewed also as a large supply chain. What do we have in the world? Consumers, producers, everybody is communicating with each other. And product and services goes through many hands before it reaches the destination. We all know it. But if you look in the last few decades, this has gone through major evolution. I mean, the term supply chain management technically came in 1960, but it has gone through a wide range of evolutions, mainly through various industrial revolutions. I would say if I look at Industrial Revolution 3, when internet came, that gave a big push to this. People started getting into digitization that time. And when we talk of Industrial Revolution 4, which is Industry 4.0, that is becoming the key issues to convert the supply chain into supply chain 4.0. I would say that if I look back in the last year, and I'm sure this year also 2019, supply chain is going to be the story of the year. So with this background, let me walk through with you guys what I plan to cover today. So the learning objectives, what I have in mind is, what is digital journey? Understanding the concept of supply chain. So very basic fundamental, I know many of you will be already aware of it, but still I would like to touch for those people who are still having difficulty, when those who come with the procurement backgrounds, is supply chain only logistic or supply chain covers everything? The vision of Industry 4.0. The major, when we talk of Industrial Revolution 4, industry is changing. It is not only the manufacturing, all activities supporting it needs to be changed. That's why we're calling supply chain 4.0. What is digitization and what is digitalization? Digitization could be that I'm converting the hard copy into the soft copy. I can say, yes, I'm guys digitized. But digitalization is basically there is no analog gap at all. There's no friction at all in the whole supply chain. So when I say friction, means there are silos. Any information goes from one silos to another silos. There are frictions, processes. But if it is totally digitalized, I'm using the word digitalized, it goes smoothly. Next, again, the framework which is required to implement digital supply chain. How do I transform my supply chain? Are we really into this direction or not? Because so far, if I look around, supply chain has been a cost center. Procurement has been a cost center. So till we are a cost center, we are a support function, that's all. We are not a strategic function. And that change is happening very fast, I would call it. So linear path, one activity, then second activity, then third activity, they move in the linear path. But this is becoming circular, where all are connected together. All stakeholders, all players in the supply chain, end to end, they're all connected. And that's where the control tower picture comes into the pictures around. Which are the technology which are required to implement this thing? And what are the future of supply chain? Obviously, when we're talking of AI, we're talking of big data, we're talking of IoTs, the future is bound to change. The type of people, the type of skill sets, all are bound to change. And time is not far when we will be talking of value chain. Today we're talking of still the supply chain, digital supply chain, but time is not far. So in another 10 years, we'll be talking of a value chain. We'll not talk of cost saving. We'll talk of what value I'm adding to this. Value means how I'm helping the organization to improve my sale. So let me start with a quote of the day. There's no such thing as business as usual. If someone says, I'm doing a great job, my company is doing wonderfully well, nothing is permanent. All of you know the Ericsson's case. Well-known names. Nokia's well-known names. Life is very small. So if I say it's becoming like a time trial, anticipating what they need to compete, not just today, but in the next 10 to 12 years. So for survival of any organization, even my own organizations, if I have to survive, I have to think not today what I'm doing well, good things, what is required in next 5 or 10 years, what changes are happening. And in keeping that in mind, we are doing this webinar frequently around to be in touch with this, to be the trendsetter on the knowledge side. So companies must disrupt themselves. I know we get into the comfort zone when you're making too much profit, but we have to disrupt ourselves or be disrupted today's evolving the supply chain. That's the way I'll start with the quote. Supply chain basic, as I said in the beginning, obviously word is a big large supply chain. Any activity at home, anywhere you move around is all supply chain. At the end of the day, if you look around in your day-to-day life, there are customers, there are suppliers. At home also, your customer suppliers. Everything is a customer supplier. So there's a chain. Now consumers are there, as producers are there around. Everybody is communicating. Things are moving from one end to another end. Now, if I said to you in the beginning, this has changed a lot. If you look at the cost which is required, the spend, if you look at any company, wherever you guys work, you look at your internal spend versus external spend. Why I'm differentiating internal versus external? External is nothing but procurement or supply chain costs. I'm expanding the term procurement to supply chain as a whole. So when you look at the cost, it is going from 50 to 70%. I've seen automobile in India. I've seen other places around in India for the last 10 years, wherever I had a chance to work with the consultant, 50 to 70%. So when supply chain is going to contribute the major spend of the company, the ratio of the sale is 70% in the procurement, then I would call supply chain as a major strategic asset. Why I'm calling strategic asset? That means if we won't have been outsourcing, we would have been doing those things in-house. And to do in-house, we have to buy the capital equipment. We have to spend money, and now somebody else is doing for us. So supply chain is becoming a major strategic asset. Now this concept, I'll quickly walk through it. Everybody knows supply chain end-to-end is nothing but, when we say the basic definition, is nothing but the system of organizations, people, activities, information, resources to move the product from one end to another end. All those are connected together. That's why this term became very popular. Today's word, the business are not competing, it is supply chain competing around. So this shows you again end-to-end supply chain. Now let's look at the traditional supply chain, which you all are aware. I've got a supplier, I've got a national distributor, regional distributor, store, customers, and then customer may have a consumer at the end of the day. So if you look at the whole chain, it's a very straight line, silo-oriented, lack of end-to-end visibility. What is customer requiring next month? We don't know. Customer tells the store, information get twisted, and there's no clarity, there's no truth at all. So fragmentations, no informations, reliability is very poor, and effectiveness. The biggest culprit I find in this one is the visibility part. Since visibility is not there, the demand which is coming from the consumer and the customer, that information is, the truth is not available at the front end. So in short, you might be planning in a big way and you will end up with having a lot of inventories. And that is very true worldwide, I would say, particularly the pharma sector. If you look at the company pharma sector, their biggest problem is inventory, inventory, inventory. And that is because of the chain. That means they have to move from the traditional chain to another chain, network chain, not this type of chain. Look at this again, same thing being explained. Your company, you have procurement people, you have exploration people, you have regulators, then your supplier has got a chain around, your customer have a chain around, customer A, customer B, customer, whatever you may call it. Now all these people are not connected. Within your own organization, you are well connected. I'm not saying that ERP is there. But that ERP is like a cubicle without any holes. So within the cubicle, you know each other. Now within the cubicle, you're not connected with your people who are providing input to you. 70% of your input is coming from supplier. So that hole is not there. So naturally, you're not connected. You're not connected with the consumer, customers. So that information is not real-time basis. You do it in a survey, you do some other parameter approaches around. Those models which I learned 25, 30 years back in college's time, they are going away. Now it needs real-time information. Even when I remember the time when I implemented ERP in my own UN organization in 2006 worldwide, I implemented as a lead person. Sometimes I feel ERP was a wonderful thing to put the enterprise connected. But now when I look back after 14, 15 years back, I see, guys, what was ERP? It's more of a cubicle. What it do? Only for HR and finance. But for procurements, which needs much more different connection with people outside, is missing. So the data which is there in the ERP is stale. So we do our whole planning based on the stale data. So that's where I feel there's a need to change. So traditional supply chain, difficulty to get the right data in a timely fashion. Challenges when using available data to make smart decisions. How do we make a smart decision? Based on the history? History doesn't work. People taste changes, people choices changes. If I would have been working with Nokia 4 years back, they were holding 30% of the India share. I can't go with the history and make so much parts around and then I find inventories too high. You need real-time data, lack of directions, silo mentality, silo mentality. So we have to get out of the straight line methods and get into the circular methods. We have to get to the control tower approach. So if you look at the challenges which we collected the data from based on our survey last year we collected, the biggest issue, the concern, 70% said supply chain visibility. If you're working as a reactive person, then certainly this is not the issue. If I'm working as a reactive person, the cost containment is the major issue to me. Risk is more important to me. But if I'm working at a strategic level, then I need a visibility, my friend. Now let's talk about the journey. As I said to you, over the last few decades, I would say since the advent of internet, things have changed enormously. So when I was based in Geneva, I used to develop EDI standards. I was very much actively involved in 86, 87 when we were coming with strategic sourcing in Copenhagen. So many supply chains are still linear with series of discrete siloed steps. Marketing is there, product development, all are silos. Even within the organization, the manufacturing is happened, distribution is all are independent. No one knows the real-time information. So we think we are working for one client, and overnight the client tells, sorry guys, I'm not interested in this product. And while we are in the production, still doing the full production, And the guy has given the information to X, then X goes to Y, Y goes to Z. The whole path is so long by the time damage is done. So we are talking today's word ecosystem. This is the most common word and the buzzword you may call around. We are not looking internally only the silo part, we're looking at the ecosystem. People who are serving us, people who are helping us. So the whole ecosystem, all the stakeholders have to be considered. Now the issue comes, if we are able to digitize ourselves, certainly we are able to survive in the future, we are able to improve the efficiencies. So in short, if I had to summarize the journey part, technology is rendering the old fundamental of supply chain management obsolete. This is where I look around since my journey has been around 4 decades in this field. And when I studied in the business school in the US and what I see now, some of the things are not relevant here. I know in India, same business school books are taught around, the concepts have changed. Look at this traditional versus digital. So traditionally, what we used to remember the score model, I develop, plan, source, make, deliver, support. That's the chain we talked about. Any person you come from the college after doing MBA, first question you ask them, what is supply chain? They explain you based on the score model, these 5 things. They're well connected, no issues. But if I use them in the digital part, my core is in the center, my wonderful system is there, all are connected. So it's a network. It's not a chain. So basically, I move from a chain to a network. Any information, any place, everybody knows. And in the process of network, the collaboration starts. Because since we're talking of Industry 4.0, I think it's good to understand Industry 4.0. The whole story starts from 1784. First revolution, we all know. We came with the mechanical production through steam engine, this, that. Second was electrical mass production. Ford was the first one to use this. Industrial Revolution, 1969. We had the PCs, we had the computers. So basically, digitization journey started from there, converting analog document to digital. But now when we're talking of fourth industrial revolution, we're talking of connected things. Look at today's on the personal life. Since the time Facebook came, whatever, 18, 19 years back, we are well connected. Any information goes with the press of a button to all our networks. So that type of thing now, as a customer, if I look around, we are becoming very connected customers. But when it comes to supply chain, we are not connected. That's the dilemma I have around. So, and as a customer, if I look around, my mindset has changed. And the next generation, which is coming around, Generation K, who have born and seen Facebook, WhatsApp, all those things around, they are really become very digitally connected. So when they are digitally connected, they want industrial supply chain also to become used. Everything is connected. So when we talk of 4.0, it means digitalization. Or you may call smart manufacturing. Others call it next industrial revolution or industry 4.0. But all are same thing. The word smart came after this. I know people are calling smartphone this thing, but smart word came with the concept of digitalization. Now, whatever terms you may use, but it's nothing but it's a combination of new technologies. So when I use Industry 4.0, I'm using IoT, which is very, very important. Using 3D printing, using big data analytics, using artificial intelligence, using machine learning, deep learning. So all the technology, now the blockchain is coming around. So all the technology which goes to the Industry 4.0 has to be used for supply chains, if you want to be supply chain 4.0. So when we are talking of industrial revolution, it does not affect only the manufacturing part, but also all the functions. So supply chain also gets affected. So I think this is another concept coming around. When I passed out in 70 from IIT, the focus was to produce to compete. Now the focus is not produce. What should I produce if nobody is willing to buy? Adopt to compete. In our personal life also we are told, guys, adopt. Don't stick to your own guns, that's all. Adopt to compete. If you want to compete, look what is where the world is moving. Learn those skills around. Move in that direction. That's what the model is changing from. The whole paradigm is shifting. Produce to compute to adopt. And that makes the sense around because today if you look around companies like Apple and this, they're adopting to compete. Manufacturing part they can outsource. Producing is not so important. They can outsource everything around. So the vision of 4, if I look around, Industry 4.0, which started from 2015, 16, some people call 16, some 15. So digital supply chain has to be there, smart manufacturing has to be there, the product has to be digital, data analytics around, everything. So when we talk of supply chain, keep in mind supply chain, I know is a very misused word around. They think supply chain is all about transportation. No. Supply chain covers procurement, covers logistics, covers warehouse, covers distributions, covers planning, everything is there. So supply chain is a major stakeholder, I would call now. It is no more simple a support function or a cost center. It's a major stakeholder. Now let's see how far we have done digitalization. So this is a very simple answer questions around. If you look at your desk, if you have on your desk paper, pen, and a computer, you see something modern supply chain, yes. But if I ask you data, guys, can you tell me how was your performance last year? How much was this? Who else was competing around? If your computers cannot answer immediately and you have to do some computations, that means you're still working on word of silo trace. So you have still hybrid. You are not moved fully to digitalize. I remember a project I was doing. I went to Philippines, the UNDP office this last year. I saw two people were sitting there doing nothing, converting every account page, scanning it. He said, what are you doing? Oh, yes, we are digitalizing this. You can imagine a waste of resources. So use of paper in modern business and the supply chain tantamount to inefficiency. If I ask you a question, your computer, you should be able to give me a real-time answer, not doing some calculation here. That means you have segmented things. Some information is an X place, some information is a Y place. They are not connected. There's a gap. And that gap I call as analog gap. And that analog gap, you're doing computations by pulling the information from two places and giving the information. So in digitization, the advantage we look around is it helps you to collaborate. It helps you to automate. It helps you to analyze analytics part around and bring the flexibility. Look at this way that if my whole chain is connected, not in a straight line, in a circular line, any information which are my key stakeholders, key supplier, key buyer, key customers, any change on the customer side, I know very well my plan is disturbed now. And if I can use artificial intelligence, it can help me to replan on an urgent basis. Guys, old plan is out, it is a revised plan. So you get the revised real-time information. So when we're talking about digital supply chain, we're talking planning also digitally, digital supply part, digital manufacturing, digital logistics. In the center, I put down the customer. So the whole customer is revolving around because they are the one who are providing the information. The game starts from there. So it's becoming a customer-centric. Here I also wanted to give the ranking which has been done by ISM-INDIA, IMD or something. It's an organization based in abroad. They do the ranking. India's competitiveness ranking comes as 51. The number one comes either Sweden or Singapore. So that's the way it is there. 51 in the ranking. So we have to still go a long way. And the ranking is done on 3 points around knowledge, technology, and future readiness. So the knowledge-wise in India, we are not doing bad, 37. But the technology part, since we have not developed it, are not that have it. And the last is future readiness. Now comes, by now I hope you got the message around, there's a need to change. So that means we have to transform ourselves. So the digital is the story of the year, I would call it around. And for many years to come, I can say, till we move into the value chain fully. There's empowering, humbling. Look at the maturity level. This is again, we have taken from the Gartner. Now there is inside out and there is an outside in. Two paradigms, two business models. Inside out means my company is the best. I have all the knowledge. We dictate the term, we dictate everything around inside out. Outside in means the value is also coming from suppliers. If I go back to the old model, when everything was in-house, suppliers were only keeping some parts here and there. Procurement used to be 20%, 15% hardly. This was all done vertically integrated in-house. So inside out, then I make it everything and then transfer it. Today what is happening around, if I look at the Apple model, is everything is outside in. Except the design part, everything is coming from outside and then you're putting the last label and distributing worldwide. So the movement is moving from inside out to outside in. So if you look at the pre-digital case, very silos, then the concept came, I could say, functional effectiveness. I remember the days of when BPR became very popular in 70s, business process reengineering. So everybody was said, guys, okay, you are part of this function. Improve your processes around, improve the efficiency, improve the productivity. So we were trying to bring functional excellence. Then came supply chain integrations. Guys, it's not the function per se, connect the functions. The supply chain is all about integrations. So don't look at the functions separately, connect the functions. And the next came was digital value chain. And the last is ecosystem. So it is not the value per se, I'm looking at the ecosystem totality. Now let me give some example of when I say the value chain. You have a chain, supply chain, yes. Now supply chain, you might be focusing on cost reduction. You might be saving 5%, 10%, great. But is that going on the bottom line is the second question. The next thing comes up is, by your activity, is the sales going up? If I'm buying some very good parts around, very good products around, I'm getting the best technology from outside, so outside in the process my sale goes up. So that means supply chain is helping to improve the sale. It is not simple the cost reduction, that is what I would call as a value addition. So keep in mind there are two business models. Some people are still with this, focusing on their own resources, inside out. Some says, guys, fine, we have resources, but we have to see outside world. Outside people have come up with much better models, better this, better technique, better this. If I'm an automobile company, I find somebody developed a wonderful ABS plate. I'll try to buy from them. So that's the way we are looking. So inside again, same journey. Inside is the one, and then outside is the next one. You see the pockets focus is changing. This shows your maturity, that how you are deciding your Business unit focus with misaligned or siloed functional core. This we see all the time. What are the corporate objectives around? What are the corporate goals around? And how about your function goals? Are they aligned? I think that is the biggest thing I find in big companies. I recently had traveled to one of the main big companies and I asked them, guys, can you tell me what are your goals and objectives? What are the goals and objectives on the corporate level? How they align together? I could find a big gap in thinking there as well. Now, we all know the world is moving into network economy. The very popular words are Ubers and Skype. And so digital disruption is happening already there. Now, this is the one I thought I should touch a little bit, the control towers. When we talk of visibility, now we are putting all the players, all the stakeholders into the circle. We're all connected. But the information is going from X to Y, Y to Z. That data, somebody has to process it. So we could have a tower controlled by the IT people, and they could, again, or we could have artificial intelligence there around. So it automatically updates, guys, okay, this has changed. Whatever changes happen, whether in the demand side, whether on the operation side, some machine is down, whatever thing gets affected, all should change. My production has gone into strike. My sales people given some feedback to the people. Sales people don't know what is happening in the product plant. So this will drive automatically through intelligence, guys. You can't deliver by this date. So this is the control tower. So this control tower is giving you visibility end to end. It is not only on your left and right, it's giving you visibility of the whole stakeholders. So that means this is helping you to improve the visibility. Obviously, the communication enhances, and you get one version of truth. The guess is out. And lastly, it improves the efficiency. So this is where the concept is moving a lot. And I would like to hear later on from you guys how many of you are using it in the pharma, particularly because inventory is a major issue. I've seen in the West world, they've started using it. In India also, some people are planning it. So this is the concept. Now, when we talk of supply chain transformations, so by now we are very clear, we need to transform. But before I talk of transformation, let's see what are the terms around. Digitizations, digitalization, and transformation. So when I say digitization, the example I was giving you for the Philippines, where I'm taking each and every page, and then I'm scanning it, I'm converting it. That's simple digitizing. You could say I'm digitizing my process, fine. But that is not the process oriented. Here, digitalization means the process automatically generates it. And then I'm looking at the transformation, I'm looking at the business as a whole. I'm not looking at a function per se. I'm not looking at a procurement. I'm not looking only logistics. I'm looking supply chain as a whole. I'm not looking at a part by distribution, warehouse. I've done digitalization. Distribution, I've done warehouse. Procurement, I've done digitalization. But all four of them, do they speak together? So that's what we're looking around the transformation. And even the transformation can go again end to end, including the finance, including other players, sales, everybody around. That's what we're talking about transformation. Look at this way now, you have a company, supplier, regulator, distributors. Each one is producing their own paper. When the information goes from one to another, everybody is producing paper. Time consuming, inefficient, expensive. And errors could happen around. And this is where the whole digitalization, and later when I talk of blockchain, so blockchain automatically, you can avoid these duplications. So in short, when I had to say transformation, we want agility, we want reduced risk around, we want bigger margins, we want improved product values, enterprise growth. So they are the key drivers for us for which we're doing. So it gives you the 6 stages of transformation. Obviously, everybody, when they want to do transformation, we had a chance to work with few companies. We look at usual first, how they work, what are the gaps around. Then we try to work out the gaps, then try to formalize it. Then we try to come and guide in the long run, 5 years, 10 years, what changes are bound to happen. Then those strategic issues and existing issues we try to bring. Then we come with innovation, adaptive, to make it really working. That's a framework. So obviously you need digital planning, digital supply, digital manufacturing. They're all part of supply chain. Even if we go with the score model, they're part of that. So this model, if I have to use it, what do I need? I need supply chain integration at the ground level. I need supply chain automations. So first thing is I have to integrate them. All the players which I've got around, I have to integrate. The journey is common. Supply chain, the gain automation part, reconfiguration, and last is analytics. Analytics. And now the focus is all about data has no meaning. Data is a garbage. If I don't pull out the information, and from information I don't put out the knowledge out of it, the intelligence out of it, it's of no use. So the data has become so big nowadays. Your standard apps and those are data processing can't work. You need big data analytics. Now, when we're talking of digitalizations, the area which are going to be affecting demand forecasting and planning, very high degree of change is caused by digitalization. If you're moving into digital, there's a major impact. I've seen in 2-3 companies where it has helped them a lot to improve the accuracy of forecast. Inventory planning, again pharma company. Warehouse management, okay, high. Networking, very high. Transport, I'm able to use my all transportation to the fullest capacity. Tracking, freight, transport and logistics. These are the areas where it is going to affect in a big way. So areas of and levers and challenges, what they are. Obviously, there for each activity there are a wide range of challenges. So I'm just skipping this. Now the disruptive which are happening around. Demand forecasting, particularly those are in pharma, food processing, or even other manufacturing around. Your enablers are nothing but the big data, as I said, analytics, IoT. I have to be connected through sensors. Information has to come to me each and every moment. And the benefits would be the data-driven demand, faster time in the market, or with the lower risk. So degree of impact, you can see the full colored circle around. Capacity planning, because all in-house. So the capacity planning, yes, if I get the big data information, I can get some benefit. I can cut down shorten lead time. Production planning, I can also get. The bigger benefit I'm getting is the demand forecast, because my customers are also connected. This also talks of again the whole story of how the data comes and how data is aggregated, and after aggregations, what output happens. Now let's get back to the technologies enabling change. At the end of the day, when we talk of Industry 4.0, a simple definition I have to say, all the technologies of Industry 4.0, if you start using in supply chain, it becomes supply chain 4.0. We'll be using IoT, using the AI, using the big data, using the machine learning, using 3D printing. So all the technologies, if I start using it, that's what we're looking at. Well, the key enablers, if I look around, is first thing is IoT side, sensors, locations. So these are becoming very important around. I mean, I have got sensors everywhere around, information can be tracked and traced. Robotics, And the next is the big datas. And then we're looking at digital technologies again. The cloud services is very, very important. If I'm enabling everybody end to end, every information is going through, it's not a same system. So the clouds are helping me to connect it. And the global real-time availability. Then we have again others, display innovation, 3D printers. So future of the SCM, if I talk of the whole supply chain management, customer is the focus. So we need behind this a wonderful planning, a good collaboration with the customer. We need to use for collaboration, we need big data, we need IoT and social network as well. And then the factory of the future. And last is supply integrations. Let's start understanding what is understanding the Internet of Things around. We talk of IoT, very popular word. So this nowadays is very common. Smart fans, smart locks, smart thermostats, smart cars. You might have seen some ads coming around. You're sitting in an office, you can make your air conditioner at home on and off. It's all through IoTs. So the word smart means they're all connected through IoTs. So these devices are all part of the emerging category called the Internet of Things. So in short, we are calling it IoT. To me, when I look around digitalization, this is helping a lot, particularly in the logistics side, distribution side. This is becoming very important. Next comes the artificial intelligence. Intelligence means, obviously, when I say this guy is intelligent, he has the ability to solve problems. But artificial intelligence means it's a machine intelligence. So if you look at our neurological side, we are able to interpret, we are able to reason, we are able to perceive, and based on that, we are able to plan. But if machine can do same thing, so if I have got a machine intelligence, which can also have simulate the human intelligence, incorporate the traits such as reasoning, perceptions, problem solving, again through algorithmic, again through help of machine learning, if those are there, so this can do a lot of work. You might have heard already some activities which are robotic process automations, some activities which are mundane, routine. Already in India also have started seeing people using RPA. So machine learning again is part of the artificial intelligence, a branch of that around. So it's basically design and development algorithmic. So those algorithmic which calculates, formulates. So when the data changes from the customer side, so machine learning can use based on algorithmic, again artificial intelligence can reason it and come with the outcome as well, come with a new demand plan. So the digital way of life, we all know is becoming a part of us. Now business drivers and digital transformation. If you look at the business drivers, first thing is customer demand is increasing. Today's generation is different than older generation. They had a lot of time to wait for it. Since the new generation, which are millennials and others, they are used to digital network. They are networked everywhere around. With the press of a button, they can order anything. They can check with the press of a button where is the status around, when it is appearing, when it is arriving. So, but our own supply chain, if I look at the retail, it has improved a lot, but there are other areas we are still struggling in the manufacturing side, or even some other services sectors as well. So there's a driver is that customer demands that. So your differentiator between one company and another is how customer finds importance in it. Again, increased disruption from use of new business models, faster pace of customers and market change is happening very fast, and there's a big pressure to deliver more value at a lower cost. So that's a pressure also there. So if you want to do that, You want to cut the cost, mean the only one way could be to cut down the delivery time from 5 days to 2 days. The cost has gone down. Your transportation is going, half trucks are going with the less than truckloads, half of them are empty, but somebody is bearing the cost for that. So we have to lower the cost, but add more values. So naturally, when I'm able to give to the client at the right time, right quality, longer, my sale will go up. Increasing pressure to manage the complexity. So supply chain has become much complex. If I look back in 70s and 80s, supply chain was all very local. I used to work in the 70s in Voltas. All parts were coming from neighborhood. Most of the first thing, it was very small we were buying. Some were imported. Very few suppliers. Supply chain was not very complex. Supply chain was a purely support function. But today it is becoming a strategic function. It is a globalized thing. It may be coming from X part of the world, Y part of the world. Risks are different. So those are the drivers which are helping us to move in this direction. Let's again lastly compare up the today versus tomorrow. Today the way we are doing is data getting. I've got different systems, I collect the information. Different roles around. So each one data is collected, computed around. Here I'm doing real-time computation, mean system calculations. Manual collaboration, I go and walk to the guy and talk to the person, nothing wrong. But here the collaboration is digitalized. Suppose we are all connected, 20, 30 people, information comes on my desk, Krishan, we are having problem on that. So answer goes very quickly around. So we are totally digitally collaborating. Manually, what if scenarios? Here we do as on today, and that's what we were taught in the business school. If this happens, what decision to be done? If this happens, what to be done? But this used to be too late. Today, what will happen, because all the stakeholders are connected, we have a control tower, information is there, automatic simulation is there, it automatically gives the decision as well. That is for you as a manager to look whether this makes sense or do you want to add some extra parameters. Cadence-based planning and decision planning making is event-driven. If I look at end-to-end, the number of events which happen from one end to another end must be running in thousands. Some of you must be struggling why this person is saying thousands. Actually, will be more. I remember the one study I did for one organization. I said, in your procurement alone, there are 15 actions. Starting from the requisitions till the payment, there are 15 steps, 15 events. And now you think of procurement going to accounts and then somebody going to requisitioner, then connecting back to the supplier, and then tier 1 supplier, tier 2 supplier, tier 3 supplier, and going distribution side. Number of events are much more. How do I connect all the events? That's what's happening in digital. So that's what I'm saying around supply chain has become very, very complex. So the question comes when we say, are we ready for this? Okay, it is digitalized. And if we have to compete in the world, we have to move with we have to adopt ourselves, not just produce, we have to adopt. So digital innovation will disrupt. Yes. So the 21st century will require new SCM value propositions. We need digital categories and service procurement. We need digital supply chain and supply management. And above all, I think we need talent as well. We're moving in this direction. Do we have trained our people in this direction? I remember today morning I was having a call with someone on a similar issue. They said, oh, we have a problem on the inventory level. We were discussing about what type of supply chain you have around. I asked a few questions around. So I think this is the way the answer comes. Well, the last mantras I would say is disrupt, disrupt. Even if you're doing well today, don't be in that hope it will remain like that. So rethink all the time, reinvent yourself, reposition yourself. I would still say move into really strategic function. How you do in your management, convince your management, you're a very important part of that. Then reposition yourself. You're not a support function. Slowly, the procurement is also moving into supply chain function. The role is expanding. If I say purchasing is gone, procurement, they all become supply management, and supply management role has become much expanded. Well, with this, friends, I want to thank you all for the patient hearing.